Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It is 2:22. We are coming off of a long weekend, a long Memorial Day weekend, and we have quite a bit to unpack. I'm going to try to be as concise as possible here and make sure that we touch on everything. First and foremost, we have the ongoing posturing with the Middle East conflict. We are on ceasefire number 750. That's the extension, I'm told. It was a little joke if nobody caught it. There's been a lot of ceasefire agreements. I've lost count. I don't really know what to make of it anymore. I don't know. I have no idea. With that said, let's get the overall backdrop. The market is up. The Dow is down. Well, it depends what you consider the market, but I consider the market mainly the Nasdaq. It's up 1%, and we're going to touch on the majority of the reason why I think the Nasdaq is up. Kevin Warsh was sworn in. We are going to have quite a bit of trading going on this week. We've got a couple. So first and foremost, let's do oil. I got to poke fun at one individual. He'll remain unnamed here. He's an individual that said go long oil. Just it's unfortunate. Some people just don't possess that mental fortitude to be able to make these type of precise calls. So he's long oil, or at least he says he is. We are short oil, and I think oil is going to go down, especially if a true agreement is reached with Iran, which I do believe will be reached. I don't think the United States wants the smoke. I don't think Iran wants the smoke. I think this is going to get worked out, and oil will be going down. Hopefully downtown Susie Brown. So that's that. The Nasdaq making a new high today. This was a really nice little consolidation move. If you were fortunate enough to enter some positions here, you're doing good. So that's rocking and rolling. Bitcoin has stalled out quite a bit. I know some people are in like the doomsday scenario with Bitcoin. I mean, technically it hasn't really lost that support level, but I get it. Bitcoin doing its thing. Gold is down again today. Look, if you zone out and take a step back, gold isn't really doing anything specifically wrong. I mean, I don't love it. I thought it was going to find support around the 200, but I'm still long gold, GLD, and GLDI. Okay. We got that out of the way. Let's talk about what are catalysts and what's happening in the market. First and foremost, Micron was upgraded massively this morning. You could see the target price. You see that right. 1,625 is the upgraded price by UBS. The stock is up 20% today. I mentioned on Friday that I had to buy more shares on Thursday. I guess sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. I bought shares Thursday. Friday it was slightly down, and today I got a 20% move on top of the shares I already own. So I've been fortunate. We'll see how this volume closes. If this volume closes above here, again, like I said last week on Friday, even though stocks were ripping, arguments can be made because a lot of stocks are forming 3-week tight patterns. You have a good, healthy rotation. You have the perfect recipe for an ongoing bull rally. And I think some people are saying that the bears are screaming from the top of their lungs. I don't think this is over. I don't think we're even halfway there, to be completely honest with you. I think this rally is going to keep going for a while. So ride the trend until the trend breaks. You see, I put a lot of my focus when I talk about like Bitcoin, this and that. I'm a momentum trader. I identify things and I go in. Flexibility is my best ability. It should be for you as well. Thursday, when I made the video Friday, I indicated how I bought more shares back that I sold. And I'm happy I did so. So with that, Micron is a part of the reason why there's pin action. And so that pin action is having an effect on also other memory names like Penguin that I got back into on Thursday. Penguin looks really good here on the breakout. I think this is a buy. This is not financial advice, but rather for educational purposes. Penguin looks very good, very constructive. I own this. I'm long Penguin. One of the other names that I think is on a new name that I think you got to put on your list here in that same space is Western Digital. This looks fantastic. The breakout is happening today. This would be an activated buy point today at 525. I don't own it, and the only reason I don't own it is because I'm long Micron and I'm long Penguin, and they're in the same space. If I only owned one, I would be buying this today, bar none. I'd be buying this, and I might take some calls on it because this is a true breakout. So Western Digital, which was the original company that had the spinoff of SanDisk came from Western Digital, by the way. So if you scroll down, you're going to find all these little news clippings about SanDisk and their correlation with Western Digital. So since I'm talking about SanDisk, let's jump into SanDisk. SanDisk also up 10% today and breaking out to an all-time high. If you don't own something in this sector, I just gave you great names. I gave you Ping this early, Micron, which is just an absolute monster, SanDisk, and Western Digital, which Western Digital looks fantastic. The chart looks probably the best out of all of them. Okay, so we've touched on the memory space. I'm going to take a little bit of a curb here, and I'm going to go to Lilly. Lilly is a stock I played quite a bit last year. This is one of those stocks where I kick myself from not keeping it in my IRA. I sold this in my IRA last year, and I traded it twice. Eli Lilly is the maker of a multitude of GLP-1 drugs, amongst other things. Today, they announced they bought out 3 smaller pharmaceutical companies, which you'll probably find the clipping. They acquired a couple. And the reason that they acquired them was because their phase 3 trial of retatrutide last Wednesday was exceptional. It's here. You could find the clipping. So retatrutide is the new form version of the GLP-1 drugs. If you don't know what it is, it's a GLP-3. And the phase 3 trials were unbelievable. People are blown away with how it's affecting lipid profiles amongst the positives in obesity. And this country is very fat. People are fat and they're very lazy. And so because people are lazy and fat, these drugs are going to continue to thrive because it's the easy way out. And by all accounts, it looks like Lilly has the best recipe on the market. So retatrutide will hit the market pharmaceutically probably within the next 3 months. You could already get it in a compound pharmacy, peptide websites, whatever. I'm not going to go down that path. But anyways, I bought calls on Friday. So I am in $1,100 strike price calls. Not much movement. This is a big stock, but they're up 1%. I think you need to look at this. And I think you need to look at this on a short period. This is not so much an investment. I mean, it is an investment, but I think Lilly is going to really ramp up. And I think with the news baked in from retatrutide, I would expect this to break out to an all-time high. If you want a trigger to buy, it would be this point, but I think it's going to hit that. So I'm in option calls for Eli Lilly. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. Intel, still in this name. Intel looks great. I'm a little bit more bullish on this than more of my plays just because I understand the correlation of what's going to happen with the semiconductors, the pin action with AMD, and then the correlation in the United States. I'm not going to break this down. I'm in Intel. I bought it last week in the beginning of the week. I'm up on it, 6-7%. So I'm long Intel. We did Penguin. Let's go to Penguin, which so far is a loser. Boeing, I'm down like 7-8%. I think I have a 10% correlation here. I'm looking here. This is what I'm looking for. Dried out volume, which we had really low volume Friday and Thursday. And I'm rating for the springboard. Still in it, but the stop loss is close. So if I get stopped out, I got stopped out, but I'm still in it. Though stop loss was a little bit wider, so 10%. Dell. What a call this one has been. I sold 10% of my Dell shares I mentioned on Friday on the 18% move, and it's up again today. And that's just the way it goes, and that's okay. I'm not kicking myself. I'm still have 90% of my position, and we are going up. So Dell looks great. Do I advise you to buy it? No, they're reporting earnings this week, the 28th, so not tomorrow, but the day after. So what I'm going to do, and I will 100% probably take 30 to 40% of this position. I'll probably take 30, maybe 40% of this position off the table. And then I'm going to buy calls going into earnings. But again, that's because I have the luxury of profits in my shares. If you don't have that, maybe don't buy calls unless if you're a gambling man. I think Dell's going to crush it. So Dell still doing good. Lumentum having a down day, but I think that's okay. This is still looking really good. I think this is a trigger point if you want to buy something, not financial advice. I really like this chart. Having a down day, I still own it. Lumentum. Rocket Lab, really a big beneficiary of SpaceX's IPO. For all of you that text me, are you buying the IPO? Sorry, no, I'm not buying the IPO. I don't play IPO stocks. I play stocks that are in that same segment. So an example of that is Rocket Lab, which I've owned since back here, and it's just shooting off to highs. Any real substantial pullback, I'll buy more because I've been selling on the way up. Out of my 100% position I bought here, I'm down to a 70% position. So I'll be looked to adding 20% roughly if I can on a substantial pullback, but it ain't there yet. Rocket Lab is one you could look at. I mentioned on a video about a week or two ago, that I still think this is going to 150. And I think another call that I'm really proud of here, I got to point this one out, is Primoris. Sorry, I was a little parched there. Having a 9% move. My calls that were 120 out till November, I gave you guys those calls, are up now 40%, I think, or 45%. I'm still in those calls. I talked about this is going to recover to this area. You're going to get overhead supply here. This is going to be overhead supply, but I'll definitely take a couple calls off the table today on this 9.5% move. But I don't plan on selling a lot of them. I think this is going to about 135. 135, 140 is where it's going to struggle with some overhead supply. So Primoris is doing great. That's been a great call. For those of you that got into that with me, congrats. You're definitely up over 30% on those if you bought them the same day I bought them. Oil, talked about that. Oh, my little $2 stock, CERS, still not doing it, but man, this chart looks good. This chart looks good. I think you're going to hear from me in the next week or two, and I'm going to say this thing blasted off past 3. Still in that. IMNM, still in that. Still looks good. Patience will pay. TGTX, still in this, though I sold those options, but this still looks good. This chart is looking fantastic. This is going to form a high tide flag. Really like this. This, I think, is going to go soon, and I mean, it's really going to go. AMD, I've talked about I've been selling pieces of AMD on the way up. It just looks great. I told you last week on Friday this was a buy. You said it. Everybody told me it was expensive. I got so many texts. How can you tell people to buy AMD? Like, what are you talking about? It's a true breakout on Friday. That was a breakout. What you think is already high can go a lot higher. When you think is already low can go a lot lower. This was a breakout. This was a buy point on Friday, on a trigger point right there. If you got in on Friday, a couple of you I do know got in. Congratulations. Record high again today. All right. And then finally, I'm going to give you a play that I do like. And that is going to be Tesla. Haven't traded this name in probably 3 years. God, I wish I held it. Tesla looks great. I will probably buy Tesla today. Well, I'm certain I'm going to buy Tesla today as a trade. So Tesla will be activated as a trade. For those of you that you think that this price point is too expensive, I looked at calls going out towards the back end of the year at 150 looked pretty favorable. The Greeks correlated pretty good. So I think it was 450 out till November, if I'm not mistaken, but you'll have to do your due diligence there. I'm buying shares. I'm not buying calls. That's it. I want to point out XLE. There's 2 people in specific that were long XLE. Well, you're down. You are down 2% today. This is going downtown for those of you that were long that loser. All right. I think that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back at the end of the week for another video. My closing words are, I cannot emphasize enough that if you're waiting for pullbacks to enter the market, good luck. It is not going to happen in a lockout rally. That's all I can say, that there's times in life where you put your foot on the gas. This is one of them. And there's times where you take your foot off and you sit back and patience pays. That's not this time. I really hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Feel free to send me liquor to my office. I love whiskey. I love tequila. Feel free to use my code for FinViz Elite. If you like this, I think it's like $20 or $30 a month. I get a little piece of something, whoop-de-doo. Maybe I could buy myself a drink. And that's it. All right, guys, have a great weekend and set your stops. And don't be a putz and don't go long oil, man.